My name is Steve Werner. I'm a native Chicagoan, a husband, and a father of three. The name of my icebreaker speech is The Titan. Why The Titan, you might ask? About 4 years ago, I wrote a book. The name of the book is The Titan. It's a fictitious short adventure novel about a character much like myself, a fellow that's very inquisitive about his entrepreneurial roots, a gentleman that wanted to discover his, what I call business DNA, a guy that gets thrown back in time in old-time Chicago to a setting on a street called Maxwell Street. You might be familiar with it. And he meets a number of characters that are really his family members that are influential in who he has become in life. A little bit about me. I'm an entrepreneur. Actually, I'm a multipreneur. You might ask, what is a multipreneur? A multipreneur is somebody that often takes on too many tasks at one time. And that's what I'm guilty of, unfortunately, or fortunately. But my business DNA, as I discovered in writing my book, The Titan, goes back to 8 years old, when I got on my bicycle and I rode across the town of Skokie, 1 mile, to a little candy store and bought 97 pieces of penny candy. The reason I bought 97 pieces of candy is because tax was 3 cents, and I had borrowed $1 from my father. I rode back, I laid 97 pieces of candy out on a picnic table, and I sold them for 2 cents a piece to the kids in my town that weren't fortunate enough yet to ride that profitable mile, as I call it. After that, I wound up starting a snow shoveling business. Then I went to work at a hot dog stand and quickly discovered I didn't like working for other people. I liked working for myself. So I went to the local country club and became a caddy. At 18 years old, I needed to get as far away from home as I possibly could to grow up, and I knew that. So I left, got in my car, and drove to Tempe, Arizona, where I officially became a Sun Devil. That's a little, that tattoo is the insignia from Arizona State. When I got to Arizona State, I wound up at a flea market with my roommate, and I looked and I saw people there hustling and selling goods and textiles and shoes and watches and rings. I said to my roommate, "This is Maxwell Street." And he said to me, "What's Maxwell Street?" And I explained to him, and I said, "We can sell anything here." And we did. We called my father, we ordered watches and rings, and my father airmailed them to Phoenix, and we started. That was my first home away from home business. After graduating from college, my dream was to go into my father's local construction business here in Chicago. Now, like every Jewish father, he wanted me to be a lawyer or a doctor, but I didn't want to do that. I knew since I was a young kid I wanted to go in business with my dad. So we finally agreed. 4 days before I was to start work, my best friend called me up and said, "I need you to take a ride with me to this place called the Chicago Board of Trade." And I said, "I can't. I'm starting work for my dad next Monday." And he said, "Please, Steve, I'll do anything. I don't want to go by myself. My sister's making me go to this place to meet a friend of hers husband who does this thing called trade commodities, where people jump up and down and yell and scream." I said, "No, I'm not going. I'm going to work for my dad starting Monday." And my best friend, my college roommate, begged me to come with him. I said, "I'll take the ride, but don't expect anything. I'm going to work for my dad." Took the ride to the Chicago Board of Trade, met a gentleman who walked a circle around me, told me a little bit about what went on, and he said, "You just think you're going to come down here and make a lot of money, don't you, punk?" I said, "No, I'm going to work in my dad's construction business. He's coming down here to work with you." And he said, "No, you're coming down here." And 60 days later, I became a professional commodity trader for the next 20 years. If I go right, I'm selling aluminum siding. If I go left, I'm in financial Hollywood. That's how quick decisions in life happen. A wonderful career for 20 years. In the year 2000, electronic trading took over my world right down the block here at the Chicago Board of Trade, and I was thrown into transition. Again, not knowing what to do, a husband, father of 3, 40-some-odd years old, I went into my father's business. My father also had a finance company. Unbeknownst to me, when I arrived, the business was $5 million upside down in the hole, and I was a major investor. What do? Do I save the company, or do I let it go and go do something else? Well, one of the principles in my book is called never be satisfied. And if I didn't attack that opportunity and know if I could have saved that company or not, I would have never been satisfied. So I hunkered down with my younger brother, and unfortunately we let go of 24 people in 25 days. We restaffed up and we saved the company. And we paid the bank back the $5 million they were owed. As life would have it, in 2009, that company was lost during the credit crisis. A masterful company that I had rebuilt with my much younger brother. I had hired 40 people, some of the greatest talented young minds in the city of Chicago, and I didn't build a business with my brother, we built a culture. We built a place where people loved to come to work, where they wouldn't go home. My brother would call me on a Thursday night and say, Steve, there's 20 people here. It's 8 o'clock, they won't leave. I was brought down to my knees in 2009. That's when I met my friend, Father Frank Simarewski, that I told you about earlier. I've reinvented myself a few times since. I wrote my book, The Titan, about a fellow that understands his business DNA, knows his story, as I like to say. And my story is one of resilience. Like it or not, I have no choice but to be resilient. In 2009, going through one of the most difficult times of my life, I was playing golf with my older son. We were waiting to tee off on one of the earlier holes, and my son handed me his cell phone. And he said, Dad, I need you to listen to this. And I said, what is it? He said, just listen to my ringtone. I put the phone up to my ear, and I heard, nothing hits harder than life. Life will keep you down. Well, I'm sorry. Will knock you down and keep you down if you let it. Nothing hits harder than life. But life is not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And I recognized the voice. It was Rocky talking to his son. And it was my son talking to me, letting me know that he knew my story. My son looked at me and said, Dad, nobody gets hit harder and moves forward better than you. I'm proud to be your son. Thank you for letting me share my story.